Welcome back, everyone. It's me. This is the first episode of our new series where we bring you the most terrifying and mysterious stories from around the globe. All the stories in this series are presented in the style of a cinematic horror documentary using period-appropriate film and analog. Video styles to immerse you in each terrifying tale. And now, without further ado, let's begin. The year is 2025. You're in the breathtaking city of Venice, Italy. The sun has just set over the Grand Canal and you find yourself alone in the deserted St. Mark's Square. As you walk past the basilica, you notice a flickering candle in the nearby stone archway. Feeling a sudden sense of dread, you cautiously approach the arch. The candle seems to be burning brightly despite the lack of wind. As you gaze into its hypnotic glow, you hear a faint whisper. At first, you think it's your imagination, but then it happens again. Someone or something is whispering your name, and they say that whoever hears their name spoken by the statue is doomed to die within a year. They say the statue whispers your name. But when? After midnight. In the heart of Venice lies the ancient and imposing structure known as the Palazzo dei Tedeschi, also known as the German Ghetto. Built in the 16th century, it was once a bustling hub for German traders and merchants visiting the city. However, the building's sinister reputation grew when it was transformed into a prison and place of exile for those infected with the deadly plague. The sick were confined within its walls, left to suffer and perish in isolation. It is said that the souls of these unfortunate individuals are now trapped within the building, forever reliving their pain and torment. But there is another place in Venice where the dead refuse to stay buried. Deep in the labyrinthine canals of Venice lies an unassuming stone archway, seemingly blending into the city's ancient architecture. However, those who venture near the arch at night often find themselves face to face with the ghastly specter of death. For it is here that the ghosts of plague victims are said to linger, their presence made manifest in the form of a whispering statue. Legend has it that those who hear the statue speak their name will be doomed to die within the coming year. To separate fact from fiction, we reached out to various online communities and forums to gather first-hand accounts from those who have dared to seek out the whispering statue for themselves. In a Reddit thread from 2025, a user recounted their experience visiting Venice and hearing their name being whispered near the statue at midnight. Other Redditors shared similar experiences, with one user even claiming that they had heard the whisper, despite being in a different country. Some skeptics dismissed the phenomenon as a figment of imagination or a clever hoax, while others argued that the statue's alleged haunting was nothing more than a tourist trap designed to capitalize on people's fears. However, one particularly disturbing account came from a user who claimed that they had witnessed a friend's untimely demise after hearing the statue's whisper. Though this story may be nothing more than a tall tale, it adds an eerie layer of suspense to the statue's already haunting reputation. We then turn to online forums frequented by ghost hunters and paranormal investigators, where we found a number of chilling accounts of people who had ventured out to the statue in the dead of night, only to be met with bone-chilling whispers. Many of these accounts were corroborated by other users, adding an air of legitimacy to these otherwise fantastical claims. Despite the overwhelming evidence, some skeptics still argue that the statue's whispers are nothing more than a clever hoax perpetuated by local businesses, looking to capitalize on the morbid curiosity of tourists. Undeterred, we decided to investigate further and soon discovered a chilling audio log posted to YouTube by a user who claimed to have recorded the ghostly whispers for themselves. The video shows the user standing in front of the statue in the dark of night as a whisper can be faintly heard saying their name. While it's impossible to say for sure whether the whispers are real or fake, the video does add an eerie layer to the statue's already haunting reputation. But what could be the reason behind the statue's ghostly whispers? Some believe that the statue is a spiritual guardian of Venice, watching over the city and its inhabitants. while others believe that it is simply a residual haunting, a leftover psychic imprint of the plague victims who died there centuries ago. Of course, there is always the possibility that the statue's whispers are nothing more than a public prank, a local attempt to scare off unsuspecting tourists, or even a clever sound illusion designed to prey on people's fears. However, despite the many theories that surround the statue, one thing is certain. The legend of the whispering statue continues to thrive, drawing in both believers and skeptics alike, all in the hopes of hearing their name spoken by the dead. As the night wore on, more and more tourists gathered in the square, eager to test their luck and hear the whispering statue for themselves. The local news quickly picked up on the story, sending reporters and camera crews to the square to document the strange phenomenon. The tourist board, however, was less than impressed and issued a warning to tourists to stay away from the statue at night, fearing that the legend was becoming a dangerous distraction. But as we know, some people just can't resist the call of the unknown. As dawn approached, the crowds began to thin and the square slowly emptied out, leaving only a few brave or foolish souls still standing around the statue. One by one, they began to leave, either disappointed or shaken by what they had experienced. The sky began to lighten, casting an eerie glow over the mist-covered plaza. As the first rays of sunlight touched the ancient stone buildings, the legend of the whispering statue seemed to fade away, leaving behind only the lingering sound of footsteps echoing in the mist. And so our story ends with the square empty once more, silent except for the gentle lapping of water against the nearby canal. The statue stands alone in the pale moonlight, its weathered face stoic and unyielding. The question remains, would you dare visit the whispering statue? Or perhaps you've already heard your name in the mist and the statue has already claimed your fate. Thank you for watching. Would you wait until midnight to hear your name? Let us know in the comments below.